Hi guys, this is Chinese Dude here, and welcome back to another video. And I'm really sorry about how long this one took. I really apologize about that. A lot of research, into the last two ships in this video, but it's out now. So I hope you enjoy it, and also don't forget to subscribe and like the videos, and also click the bell button so that you don't miss whenever I post a new video. All right, enjoy. Hi everyone, and welcome to another Chinese Dude video. In the last video, I talked about ships that the White Star Line used for their services during the mid-19th century, and of course, I didn't really finish it, did I? So this is a continuation, and of course, then it's essential that you watch that video first. So there should be a link in the top right-hand corner of this video or in the description, and click it to watch it. So before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to like or for some reason dislike the video, because I think that works in the YouTube algorithm or something. I don't know. Now on to the video. So last time I stopped the list with the Arabian, so let's continue now, and the first on this week's list is Emma. And weighing in at 1,049 tons, she entered service with the White Star Line in 1854, and she was put on the North Atlantic route, so the UK to America or Canada route, in 1856 before she was unfortunately lost at sea in 1858 after 4 years of service with the White Star Line. And next up is the Golden Era. She weighed approximately 1,600 tons, and just like the Emma, she was also bought in 1854, and in the next year was put on the UK to Australia route, and she was also lost at sea in 1858. Something weird going on there. At the same time as the Golden Era, the Mermaid was also purchased, and this time we actually have a photo. Well, a painting, but you know. She weighed 1,320 tons and served with the White Star Line until 1869, when she was sold to the company Shaw, Saville and Co. And you can see that is actually the first part of the website which this photo is from. Go check them out, they're actually really good. That's where I got most of my info from. So yeah, really go give that guy support. And she was sold 2 more times after the initial purchase by Shaw, Saville and Co. Before she was wrecked in 1883 after 30 years of service. Not with the White Star Line, just total, like 30 years. She lived 30 years. That's probably the longest serving ship we've seen so far, isn't it? And in 1855, another 2 ships were added to the fleet. The first was the White Star, and we have another photo. And she served with the company until 1866, when she was sold to another company called Hutchinson and Co., based in Liverpool in the UK. And she was eventually wrecked off the coast of Ireland in 1883 as well. And then the other ship that was purchased in 1855 was called the Shepherdess, and she was built for the White Star Line, weighing in at 1,126 tons, and served until 1860, when she sank. But I don't know anything other than that about this ship, so you can comment below if you know anything. Very helpful. And then in 1856 there was the King of Algeria, and I'm pretty sure that ships with male names are still generally referred to as she, but you know, that's what I heard. I'm not sure. If you know, again, comment down below, because why not? And she weighed 1,707 tons and was chartered by the White Star Line for many years, which unfortunately I don't know, and I also don't know her fate. Although I do know that her last recorded voyage with the White Star Line that I could find was in 1862, so she at least survived past 1862, but I'm not sure how long after that. So if you know that, again, comment below. Comment section is very empty now. You know, I tell you guys to comment below, you don't. Maybe it's just because you don't know, but I'm not sure. So yeah. And the next year in 1857, another 2 ships joined the fleet, and the first in line was the Royal Saxon. She weighed 1,109 tons and served the White Star Line for some time. Again, I don't know, and her fate is again unknown. So, yeah, a lot of stuff, it's very, very unclear. Later ships, there'll be a lot more detail, but for now, not a lot of detail. The second ship was the Annie Wilson. She was purchased and served the company until 1867, when she was abandoned. She sailed on a few routes, including the London to New Zealand route, and she weighed in at 1,191 tons. And after the Annie Wilson was the Prince of the Seas. She weighed 1,326 tons and served the White Star Line from 1858 to 1861, when she was lost due to fire at Anchorage. Anchorage, basically like when they anchor at a port, not the actual city of Anchorage in Alaska. She mainly sailed on the Liverpool to Melbourne route. And in the same year, the Blue Jacket was also purchased by the company, and she weighed 986 tons and mainly sailed on the UK to India route. And in 1863, she was wrecked off of Soga Island, which I think is in Ireland, like the Republic of Ireland. But I'm not sure because when I looked it up, it was not very clear. They might have renamed the island, or the island might have been forgotten about. Unsure. 1 year later, in 1859, the Cartine or Cartin, I don't know, was brought for use on the UK to Australia route. However, she was also eventually lost at sea in 1863. And in 1860, a slate of 5 new ships joined the White Star Fleet. The first was the Shalimar or the Shalima, I'm not sure again. She was purchased and served the company for an unknown number of years, and she was sold in 1869. That I do know, but I don't know what happened to her after that. There's another report that says that Shalimar weighed more than 1,402 tons and was repossessed in 1867 when the White Star Line went bankrupt. I think that's more likely. And I think when it says that she was sold in 1869, that might have been another company selling her to another company. And if you have any more information about the ship, then again, comment below. Also, why not subscribe and like the video while you're down there already? And the second of the 5 ships was the Electric, and she was also purchased and mainly sailed on the UK to New Zealand route. And in 1864, she was sold to an Australian company and was repaired after she was condemned by local authorities and re-entered service. And she was then lost off of the coast of Africa in 1870, most likely due to pirates or storms. And the third ship was the Ocean Home. Don't show you the second Blue Jacket. The third ship was the Ocean Home. She weighed 596 tons and had a pretty eventful career. In the same year that the White Star Line had chartered or bought the ship, on the 18th of August, all of her passengers and crew were put into quarantine because 5 of her 261 immigrant passengers had contracted typhus fever, which at the time was very deadly, and they were all taken to hospital, and the ship was thankfully released on the same day. And she was then sold to Curry & Co. in 1863 and was sold again in 1864 to another company. And there are 2 accounts of how she sank. So the first account says that she sank in 1866 after she struck the American ship called Chembin, and that 77 passengers died. And another account claims that she burned and sank in January of 1869. Again, if you know which one's correct, please comment below. I'd be very grateful. I'm literally pulling my hair out. I'm I don't know, I get caught up in things that are not really that like important, but I want to find out about them. So yeah, the fourth of the 1860 ships was another ship called the Blue Jacket, which I accidentally showed you before. The Blue Jacket, this one is not the same ship as the Blue Jacket that we talked about earlier. Of course, this Blue Jacket entered service with the White Star Line and continued until 1869, when she burnt and sank off of the Falkland Islands in the southern Atlantic Ocean. On March the 5th, she did a total of 5 voyages for the White Star Line, and there were several distinctive features for the Blue Jacket, and the most prominent of which was the installation of a figurehead, which was that of a sailor from the waist up, wearing a blue jacket with yellow buttons. and there's a full description of the ship's interior, which is oddly specific. Like, it talks about the measurements for the length and width of the rooms to, like, I think it was 1 or 2 decimal places. But there wouldn't be rooms everywhere on the ship because she had a large midship section which was empty, and it was designed, like, designated for larger cargo, like, I don't know, maybe vehicles or large ornaments, things like that. And the final ship to be delivered in 1860 was the Lord Raglan, and she served with the White Star Line for 3 years until 1863, when on the 26th of February she went missing at sea whilst on a voyage from Liverpool to Melbourne. And unfortunately there is no more information on that ship I could find, so again, comment down below. I know these ships are very mysterious. But yeah, record keeping was obviously not a priority back in those times. Again, down there, why not like and subscribe? And in 1861, the Chariot of Fame was purchased by the White Star Line, and she weighed in at 2,050 tons and served the company for only 1 year because she was sold again in 1862, and she was then abandoned in 1876 for unknown reasons. There are some conflicting dates here which mess up the timeline, so again, please help. And after the Chariot of Flame is the Queen of the North. She was built in 1860 and was bought by the company in 1862, and she then served the company until 1868, when she was taken over, presumably by a bank or the government, because that was about the time when the White Star Line went bankrupt. But I couldn't find anything that happened to her after that. And also, some reports say, remember when I said she was bought by another company in 1862? So she was bought by the White Star Line in 1862. Some people say that she was actually bought in 1864, which is why, I put both dates on, because, one of them has to be correct, and I'm not sure which one. So, in the same year as the Queen of the North, the Silistria was chartered for the White Star Line and weighing in around 1,200 gross registered tons. She served the company for another unknown amount of time, and her fate is also unknown. Again, a lack of paperwork and record keeping. And next in line is the Glendevon. She was built for the company in 1862 also, and she served the company until 1870, when she was sold to Bilborough and Co. And her main job was to sail the UK to New Zealand, specifically the city of Auckland route. And in 1866, 4 years before she was sold, she was repurposed for the UK to India route. Another ship that was built in 1862 for the White Star Line was the Donna Maria. Now, this can be confusing because originally she was called the Beaconsfield, and she served with the company until 1866, when she was sold to another company based in Liverpool, and she was then lost at sea in 1877. And for the 4 years that she existed with the White Star Line, she sailed mainly on the UK to South America route, probably Valparaiso in Chile. Sorry if I mispronounced that. She weighed in at 810 tons. And okay, so I know so far this has been a rather long video of just me talking about ships, but there are only 10 ships left until we reach the end of this video, so let's power through them all, starting with the Sicilia. Spelled 2 different ways, depending on who you ask. Sicilia was built in 1863 and served the White Star Line on the UK to New Zealand route until 1866, when she was sold to Swire and Co. And in 1881 she sank off of Souter Point or Suter Point, presumably the one near Newcastle upon Tyne in the UK, whilst carrying a cargo of coal from South Shields, which is a town near Newcastle, to Valparaiso in Chile, and she weighed 612 tons. And next is the Albert William. She weighed in at 505 tons and was built in 1863 as well, and she served the company until 1867, when she was seized by the Bank of Liverpool, again most likely due to unpaid debts owed by the White Star Line to the bank. And she was then sold multiple times until 1900, when she was wrecked off of Hamelin Bay on a voyage from South Africa to the UK. It's very unlikely that ship would live past 50 years of service. It seems that this ship made it to 1955, aka 92 years in service. Can you? I don't believe this, so can any of you please verify this? Because not even the most well-built ships would normally do more than 50 years of service. So I don't know, you guys tell me. Comment below, it would be very much appreciated. The Royal Standard was another ship that was built in 1863 for the White Star Line. Interestingly, on her main voyage from Liverpool to Melbourne, the ship's captain passed away, meaning that the chief officer had to take command. I guess everyone got a promotion then. Anyways, the ship served in the White Star Fleet until 1867, when she was sold off again to the company Squire and Co., which we saw in with the last ship, Albert William. Which is of course based in Liverpool, and this was due to the White Star Line's bankruptcy at the time, which you'll recall if you watched the second episode of Queens of the Oceans, and if you haven't already, click the link in the top right hand corner about now, or in the description if for some reason you can't. In 1864, she hit an iceberg. Yes, Titanic is not the only ship to hit an iceberg, but managed to stay afloat and sail to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil for repairs. And originally the ship was actually a steamship, but as the engines were not powerful enough to be economically sustainable, aka they were too expensive to operate, because a sailing ship could go faster than the Royal Standard. Her steam engines were removed after she was sold to Swire & Co., and in 1869 she was wrecked near Sao Tome in Brazil, which is actually quite close to Rio de Janeiro. And up next is the Santon. She was completed also in 1863 and was chartered by the company in the same year. She was eventually sold in 1866, again probably due to the financial problems that the White Star Line had begun to suffer in that year. However, not much else is known about her, so again, if you could please comment below if you somehow obtained information on this ship, I'd be very grateful. What I do know is that the ship survived beyond 1870, but not much else, hence the request for comments. Now what you must know at this point is that many of these ships were barocks, and these were types of sailing ships which had 3 or more masts on them, and the Ulcoats was one such vessel. She weighed in at 671 tons, and actually looks pretty good, in the green paint. She served with the company for 4 years until 1867, when she was sold to the Aberdeen-based company Stearns and Brown. We'll revisit that later. Aberdeen being a city in northeastern Scotland, and this was likewise a result of the financial collapse of the company in 1867. You see a trend here. She initially did the Liverpool to Australia and New Zealand route, but was switched to the Liverpool and India route soon after. And this picture actually, this painting of her in the amazing green livery, is actually of her in Auckland in New Zealand. And the Ulcoats eventually went missing, unfortunately, in 1874, which is actually kind of sad because, she looks great. Up next is the Tornado, and she was built in 1852 in New York and served the White Star Line from 1863 until 1867, just like the Ulcoats, when she was also sold, this time to the company called Hutchinson and Partners. This was again due to bankruptcy, there were also some reports that suggest that the company had actually bought the ship in 1859 and not 1863. She caught fire in New Orleans in 1875, and despite being a wooden ship, she actually stayed afloat as a hulk until 1880, when she was presumably sunk or broken up. A hulk is, if you do not know, basically a ship that's been stripped of all of its interiors and functions, so it's like an empty shell. So a hull could be a ship that's just been constructed but hasn't been fitted out yet. Fitting out is the process when you add the interior details and you put the funnels on, the masts on, things like that. Or it could be, again, like in this case, a ship that's just been burnt on the inside out, and all that's left is this floating metal or wooden shell, and its only function is to float. Sometimes it could be used to store things like coal or timber, but sometimes it could just be empty, just lying there until it gets scrapped. And the first ship that was built for the White Star in 1864 was the Golden Sunset, and she served the company until 1866, when on the 17th of December she was sadly wrecked off of Enderby Island in the Pacific Ocean. I'm not sure, it could be the one in the Pacific Ocean, but it's more likely that it was actually an island somewhere in the North Atlantic or the South Atlantic. I'm not sure, because again, islands could be renamed, or like this Enderby Island in the Pacific Ocean could have taken its name from the Enderby Island that this ship might have been wrecked on. Yeah. However, not much else is known about her service time, so please, please comment. You know what? If it doesn't matter if you don't know anything, just comment, because comments are great, and they have something to do with the YouTube algorithm. So, yeah, give me the subscribers. The second ship built for the White Star Line in 1864 was the Sam Stearns, and you'll notice that the Stearns here is actually the same as the Stearns in the company Stearns and Brown, which I told you to pay attention to because, you know, I did say you're going to see this again later. Same company that the Alcoats was sold off to, you know, Stearns and Brown. She weighed in at 1,412 tons and was a three-masted iron ship, so again, a baroque. She was built in Greenock in Scotland in 1864 and sailed on the UK to Australia and India route, specifically Melbourne and Calcutta respectively, and she was a part of the White Star Fleet until 1867 when she was sold off to a Lancastrian shipowner, Lancaster being a region in northwestern England, due to, once again, the company's financial difficulties. The ship was then wrecked in 1871 off the coast of southern Chile near the archipelago of Tierra del Fuego. I think that's how you say it. Sorry if I mispronounced it. It's like the islands that are, you know, like at the very southern tip of South America, just like this group of islands that just form a tip. Uh, is part of that archipelago. Thankfully, the ship's crew managed to make it ashore onto one of the islands and made a temporary shelter for around 2 weeks until another ship called the Port Stanley came to rescue them. And the judge in the court during the trial in the UK found that the ship's captain wasn't at fault for the incident, so that must have been lucky for him. At least he didn't get fired. The last ship that was purchased in 1864 was the W.H. Haselden, and yes, that is a real ship name. I know it sounds like some fancy name that I don't know some duke or some person would have had, but yeah, it's a ship's name. She was built in Stockton-on-Tees, which is a market town near the city of Durham in the UK, and she served with the White Star Line until 1867, when, just like all the other ships, she was sold off to another company. This time it was the same company as the one that the Tornado was sold to, which, if you remember, was Hutchinson and Partners. After a few years with the company, in September of 1870, she left Montreal in Canada, bound for Glasgow in Scotland, but never arrived at her destination. Spooky. Fits the theme of Halloween as well. Just kidding. The ship most likely just sank or was wrecked due to bad weather. And the last ship that was chartered by the first White Star Line was the Sirius. Or, yeah, you see a lot of names. It's story time. She went on a big journey. Built in 1865 in Hull, which is a town in Yorkshire in the UK. She only served the company for 1 year because in the next year she was sold to another company and renamed the Columbia. During that time, she mainly did voyages to the Mediterranean. Like during the time that she spent with the White Star Line, she mainly did voyages to the Mediterranean. She originally had two masts and was shorter in terms of length, and she was also powered by steam and a paddle wheel. But she was rebuilt in 1872 and was made longer and had three masts instead of two. In 1868, she was sold again to the Anchor Line and was renamed the Scandinavia. In 1888, she was sold to Sea Furnace, and her name was once again Sirius. But then, only 5 years later, she was sold to a company based in San Francisco, but kept her name. Only 1 year later, she was sold to a Hawaiian company based in Honolulu and was renamed the Kahului. I don't know how to say that. You can see the name on the screen. It's the fourth one along. You guys tell me how do you say it? I'm gonna say Kahului, and was put on voyages between Honolulu and San Francisco. She was then transferred back to her San Franciscan owners, and this time was renamed as the Cleveland. And in 1900, she was wrecked off of Cape Bromley in Alaska and sank. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and also click the bell button so that you don't miss it whenever I post a new video. And also check out all my videos because, you know, they all deserve equal love. And also check out the channel section on my channel page, because these channels are there for a reason. Subscribe to all these people, and yeah, I hope you guys have an absolutely amazing day. In the next episode of Queens of the Oceans, which will most likely not be the next video, because now you know how long it takes for me to make one of these. We'll be talking about the revamp of the White Star Line and also the oceanic class of ocean liners, which will be fun because eventually will lead to the more famous ocean lines of the 20th century and eventually the merger with Cunard in the 1930s, but that's almost a century away. Right now, we're going to focus on the revamp. So thanks very much for watching to the end. If you watched the end actually, why not comment below? Just say like, I watched to the end or something, just so I know how many of you actually watched to the end. Also, I know most of you aren't subscribed to my channel, so please subscribe. Again, I've told you many times, subscribe and like the videos. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye and stay safe. Also, did any of you even know that I got a new channel logo?